In this video, I'll talk about the subject matter that's really close to my heart, and that is tropical edible plant produce. And I'll show you why it's just so riveting to capture this sort of material. And first I'll begin with one of my favourite artists that inspired me to get into drawing in the first place. And that is the very talented Katie Scott. Now, Katie Scott is an artist based in England, but when I found her book as a teenager, I was instantly so enthralled by how she captured fruit, plants, anything to do with greenery. I'll just flick through a couple of pages of her book here. And as you can see, it's a little bit well loved and I've pressed quite a few things in it. They're very elegant rendering that Katie has used, with simple lines, very clean outlines. That's something that's stuck very close to me. And when I first saw Katie Scott's art, to be perfectly honest, I didn't think that I could capture anything quite like this. It just was something that I really enjoyed looking at. But then, as I started discovering my cultural roots and plants became a really big focus to my life, it occurred to me plants were really the perfect subject matter to use in my art. And I'll tell you why. When it comes to producing art, I'm a little bit of a shy perfectionist in that I want it to look like what I'm drawing. If the perspective is somewhat wrong or something doesn't quite feel right, then I feel really put off and a little bit ashamed of what I've drawn. But when it comes to fruit and vegetables and plants, there's nothing really you can get wrong. Everything is so organic and natural that what you've drawn will be replicated some way in some form. It will be recognizable. By contrast, if you're starting out drawing and you're trying to draw people's faces, it is a very great endeavor to try and do that, but you probably know the feeling of not capturing someone's face quite right. That's a problem you really don't get with fruit and vegetables. A fruit isn't going to tell you that it's unhappy because you didn't get its nose right. So this is why plants are just such a rewarding and easy way to get into art. I'll just put this book away. I'd like to show you some tropical plant material I brought today, just to give an idea of the range and the difference that you can find in your own backyard when it comes to looking for drawing material. So what I've got before me is this very unusual looking yam bean. And this root is neither a yam nor a bean, but that's what its common name is. And it tastes a little bit like a nashi pear, but it's grown underground. It's really quite fun to draw, but it can be quite a challenge. But not only are there fruits and vegetables at the markets, another favourite drawing material of mine are leaves and herbs. And this little thing I've got right here is called Chinese spinach or amaranth. And I found it growing in the footpath in the Rapid Creek markets. And I brought it along today because I just love how lush that colour difference is. You can see that splash of maroon on top of this green. Quite a lovely thing to try and capture. And this big fruit bowl that I've got here is filled with some of my favourite drawing and eating material. In the corner, I've got this Thai basil, and I can smell it all the way in the corner. I did kind of bring it for the fragrance rather than the looks, but it is fun to draw the little veins that crisscross across every leaf. And another thing that over here that I'm not the biggest fan of eating, but I do love drawing, is this bitter melon vine, which has become a little bit sad now. I was happier when it got picked. But another thing that is really easy to press open, and I'll show you how to revive leaves later on and press them out to make it easier to draw them. And at the back here, this is actually a new plant to me. Now, most weekends I like to go to my usual local markets, which are the Parap markets closer to the city, or Rapid Creek, which is in the northern suburbs in Darwin. And lately I've seen this strange looking vine. I'm not actually sure what it is, and the seller has told me its Vietnamese name, but it is still something I'm searching for the English translation for. So I thought I'd bring it along today to show you look how tough and how waxy these leaves are, but there's such fine veins that run through it. And it's just a testament to the strange and wonderful things that I'm always finding at the markets. The markets always have something fresh and exciting and new there. I'll never truly know everything that's in there, and that's a good thing. So as I'm moving this bowl around me, I can just see the light shine through the detail in this unknown leaf. And I just love how filigreed and how fine the veins are. The more closely you look at the produce at the markets, the more you can just see the stunning detail and shape and character that each produce has. And that's one of the great things about drawing, is just finding richer detail that you can put down on paper. So when it comes to the fine detail and the richness that you can find in the produce that you find at your local markets or in the nature around you, it's sometimes a little bit difficult to think, how do I transform that into a 2D image that is on paper? So in the next video, I'll start talking about some of the strategies and techniques I use when I'm trying to get something that's quite complicated in front of me onto paper.